So morning comes, and it's the day after. I'm only sleeping an hour or so in a bed that has an inflatable mattress that moves as you sleep. Moves all the time. Every couple of minutes, your leg raises a little bit. Your back moves. Your others might move. The whole time you're in bed. There's no way to turn it off. It is what it is. It could make you feel dizzy. So morning comes. I'm awoken, sleeping soundly, and I hear my name. Poe? I just open my eyes, and I look up. Standing above me, have you ever seen The Green Mile? The main actor in The Green Mile, the black guy that they put in jail that heals the mouse eventually, that guy, is standing above me. He's wearing the county jail orange jumpsuit. He has something metal in his hand. I can't really see what it is as my eyes kind of adjust to the light. But when my eyes open, he says to me, I need to take some of your blood. It takes a minute for it to sink in. Now I realize what's going on. This is for the heart work, and so they can do more blood tests on me. He's the guy from hematology. But the idea of the red jumpsuit or the orange jumpsuit, frankly, guys, really bad idea. He's one of the vampires. Real nice guy. His name's Poe, DuPont, Doopy, I don't remember, but it's Dutch. Which is interesting because Poe's is also Dutch. I believe it's Dutch. It doesn't mean anything nice. My name is Raven Pose. And Pose refers to a female genitalia. It's not a nice word, but it makes me understand why people often follow me on YouTube and other places, because after all, who could resist a raven pussy? So, Doopy-Doo is trying to move tables out of the way and make access to my arm easier. And I said to him, wait a minute, let me help you out. So they have this table, the legs go under the bed, and then the table sits over the bed. So you can just do like that, you've got a desk in front of you. So I slide that this way, and lay a towel here, and I lay my arm there. Do your thing. And I watch as he puts the needle in. He's pretty good. For some reason we're having some trouble getting a vein, and that's usually not a problem with me. Usually my veins are quite prominent. You can usually see my veins pretty good. On this hand even better. Perhaps not in this light. But my veins pop. But he finds the vein. He goes in, fishes a little bit, and he gets it, and the blood starts to flow. A couple of seconds, he's done. He thanks me for being such a good patient, and bids me be well, and leaves. I stretch, set the electric bed up, and get out of a hole that feels like it's 3 feet deep in the center of the bed. Apparently this thing has blown air around me, but not under me. So I climb out of bed. I get a hold of the IV stand, and I go into the bathroom. I pee a little bit. Try to poop. Nothing really comes out. And I go back outside and I walk up to a big bay window that looks out over a park. And I sit down, and I think to myself about how much I wish I was out there, having a cigarette, just decompressing, and going over the decisions that I have to make. And I notice a shadow go over, and another one go over, and another one go over. So I look up, and above me are 5 chicken hawks circling. Like the buzzards at Hinckley, right above me inside this big window. It didn't occur to me at the time what a great selfie that would be. It wasn't until I was explaining to my brother that came to light. I get on the phone and I order breakfast. Now this hospital doesn't have trays that come at a predetermined time, and there's no dietitian that tells you what you're going to eat. At least for me, there was no dietitian that tells me what it is I can eat. Instead, what I have, I'm going to pull it out here. It's my welcome packet. Instead, what I have is this beautiful menu. And this menu says that from breakfast is from 6:15 until 8 p.m. And lunch and dinner are from 10 a.m. until 8 p.m. Now this is Clear Liquid Diet just for you. So I open it, and my breakfast options are juices: apple juice, grape juice, or cranberry juice. I'm allowed to have chicken broth, vegetable broth, red gelatin, or citrus gelatin as a side, and that's breakfast. For lunch, I can have beef, chicken, or vegetable broth. My desserts are red gelatin, citrus gelatin, cherry fruit ice. By the way, those are very good. And lemon fruit ice. Beverages for dinner are apple juice, grape juice, cranberry juice, hot coffee, hot decaf coffee, hot tea, hot decaf tea, iced decaf tea. And my condiments are honey, sugar, sugar substitute, or lemon juice. This is the menu that I'm going to be ordering for the rest of the day. This is breakfast, lunch, and dinner. The only thing that I'm upset about is that I can't get creamer for my coffee. Because although I can have as much caffeine or sugar as I want, creamer makes it a non-clear liquid. I guess my body would use it differently. So, first time I see the nurse, I say, I don't know who's responsible for this, but him and I need to have a talk. I'm not looking for a different menu. I'm looking for special privilege to have a couple creamer packets. That's all I want. It's not too much to ask from somebody who's just discovered they have cancer, is it? Then a doctor comes in. He introduces himself and tells me that he is the coronary specialist. He explains to me that during their tests, they have found that I have a problem in my right carotid artery. I have some kind of a circulatory problem in my chest. Down on my abdomen, just by the below the navel, there's a blockage. He has checked he's checked my legs on both sides, and both of them have some blood flow issues. They're not getting enough blood, but the one on the right-hand side concerns him the most. And although he will have to do some catheterization or something like that in order to see how bad it is, he believes that all of those places are obstructed significantly enough that he's probably going to want to put stents in. He prescribes for me an aspirin a day, a baby aspirin a day, 81 milligrams. He asks me if I had any questions. I have a few. I ask him. He answers. And he leaves. Now, I just start drinking water, especially a lot of water and ice cubes. I'm trying to get hydrated. And then I feel like I have to go to the bathroom. So once again, I climb out of the hole that I'm in and get a hold of my IV stand. I go into the bathroom. It's about 7 o'clock. And I go number 2. Not a lot. Diarrhea. But it feels good to finally go to the bathroom. As I'm cleaning up, I go again. And then again. And then for the next 2 hours, off and on, I'm either staying in the bathroom and going multiple times, or I'm getting all cleaned up, laying down, only to get up in a couple of minutes and go some more. I inform my nurse, I pooped. And rather than being congratulated for doing so, she wants the details. Was it soft? Was it firm? Was it diarrhea? Were they formed? So it was a little anticlimactic. But I went, and that took a lot of pain away from my kidney area. Apparently all this saline solution and hydration has loosened things up and allowed me to go. During the course of the day, I empty out. At one point, I have a bowel movement that has a lot of blood in it and has some clots, it looks like, in it. Still soft, but not really diarrhea anymore. And towards the end of the day, I get my first turd. It's only about as big as my thumb. It's kind of skinny, but I got one. In the meantime, doctors are coming in and going out, and housekeeping comes by. She introduces herself, and she leaves her card. It says, I hope you're feeling better. If there's anything you need, let me know. She also brings in a complimentary copy of the newspaper. I ask her to go ahead and take it out because I won't be doing much reading. And that's day 2 in the morning. Probably around 10 o'clock, things start getting interesting. Calls come in, how you doing, what did they say? Doctors start coming in explaining that we need to put another catheter in. Very important. Could be talking about your life. But my thoughts are on, I'm in the hospital. How am I going to make money for rent? It's hard enough when I'm not in the hospital. But sitting in the hospital is time wasted. And if I don't have rent, I'll be sleeping out of my van. So what am I going to do? And it all starts to squeeze and makes my world smaller and smaller and smaller. I've got people coming in telling me all kinds of stuff and I'm not even hearing them. I'm at the end of my rope. I'm understanding that if we don't put the catheter in fact, the one doctor tells me, if we can't put the catheter in, if you won't let us do that, then you might as well just go home because there's nothing else we can do for you. That is the number one thing we have to do, is put that catheter in. Now the urologist comes in and after he had explained everything, I may have caught this earlier, but He came in and explained everything and how important it was and stuff, but he was going to have to wait at least 12 hours in order to do anything, and he was going to stop me taking the aspirin, because taking the aspirin is a blood thinner, and he wasn't comfortable going in with my blood thinned in order to take the biopsy and, at least for him, hopefully take out whatever cancer was in there. I still haven't decided to let them do the catheter. I'm still stinging from the last experience. But it's dawning on me. And after the visit from the doctor, it says, you might as well go home, that if I don't have the catheter in, I'm dead. But I know how difficult it's going to be to keep it in. I've experienced it firsthand. So I have to do something that I can't do. My brother is a company man. He's someone who believes in doctors, he believes in their expertise, and if the doctor says it, then that's what you do. I informed my brother that he's supposed to be on my team, even when he disagrees with my choices. So my son finally, I messaged him and say, just want to let you know, I'm in emergency room. I came into an emergency room last night, and I'm at the hospital, and I just thought you should know. I thought you would want to know. And I get a message back right away saying, why didn't you tell me sooner? And I'm on the way there. So at this point, I'm overwhelmed. It's more than I can take. There are no clearly defined exits at the end of the road that I'm sitting at. There are no positive, at least from my perspective at that point, there are no positive choices to make. There's one answer, and one answer only. The slam dunk. You're going to have the catheter in. It's the only option you have. There are no others. This is important. There are no other options. You must have this done. And I know that I can't do it. That if they put it in, it's coming back. I know it. I don't think it. I know it. But I make the decision that I'm going to give it my best try, since it's the only choice I have. So I let the doctor know, yeah, we'll do it. But under the condition that I want to be so drugged I don't even know my name when it happens. He said, we can do that. So my son and my daughter-in-law come in. I talk to them for a little bit. And then suddenly there's 4 people that walk in the door, along with the doctor that's organizing everything. And he explains that these are the people from the Cleveland Clinic, and the oncologist or the urologist that I talked to before isn't there today. But these guys are also at the hospital periodically, and they've agreed to come in, talk to me about the catheter. They deal with cancer a lot, and then they will tell me what they can do for me, and they will put the catheter in. I'm like, okay. So they come in, or the nurse comes in, and she says to me, the people are here to put your catheter in. I said, no. The people are here to talk to me about putting the catheter in. Let's be clear. She said, okay. So they sent him in. And a guy walks in that looks like me. He was told by the doctor who asked him to come in that I'm a young guy at 57 years old. He's 58. He talks to me. I like him. I like the way he talks to me. I like the way that he lets me ask questions. I like the way that when I make a joke he laughs, and that he still impresses upon me how serious this is. Now, with him is a, I would say a nurse. She seems to be the lead person in the team. She's a CNP. And she is like the woman who makes the garments in The Incredibles. She's got the hair cut square right here. Woman probably about my age. Big glasses. Classic. Her and this other doctor, after I say, okay, if we're going to do this, let's do it, they get right to work. They're not waiting. They've got their window of opportunity, and they know that that could close at any time, so let's get to it. My son and his wife are right there, and I don't ask them to leave. Although they do. They're just standing outside. So they do their thing. They put the catheter in. He goes in. No problem. It didn't even hurt. This guy's a genius. He uses some kind of a catheter that has a curve on it, so he actually dips underneath the prostate that's causing the problem. And it goes in. And I get rid of a liter of water. And everything dries out. And they... There you go. We'll see you later, Mr. Pose. And they walk out the door. They say to the nurse, all you need to do is just connect that to his leg, put the bag, and yada, yada, yada. She's like, okay, doctor. And they leave. I watch the tube go empty. And I get burning. More severe burning. A lot of burning. White knuckle burning. My son and my daughter are there, and daughter-in-law are there, and I'm apologizing to them for being such a baby that I can't stand this. Finally, I get to the same point I was in ER. This has to come out. And I'm hitting the button multiple times to make them come right now. So I get them there, and they say, we can give you medicine. I said, no, this comes out. And the same song and dance. This has to stay in. Mr. Pose, this has to stay in. I'm like, no, this has to come out. And you're going to take it out. So finally they come in and they take it out. I'm still in a lot of pain. They haven't given me morphine or anything, and I'm in a lot of pain. And I stand up and I go to the bathroom with my IV, and I close the door. I don't turn the light on. And I break down and weep. Because the one shot that I had to live, I just blew. Because I wasn't strong enough to do it. And the shame of that in front of my children. Finally, I snip it up, fight the tears back, wipe my eyes, run a little water, rinse my hands, wipe my face. And I go back out. And I notice that my daughter-in-law has left the room. Probably too emotional for her. I'm sure they heard me. I apologize to my son. There's no need, Dad. Fast forward about an hour later. The Invincible lady comes in. And she explains to me, well, Mr. Haynes, if you can't keep a catheter in, there's only one other option. I'm like, there's another option? She said, well, you can self-cath and put it in, get rid of the water that you're retaining, take it back out. But you'll have to do it multiple times during the day. You'll have to do it by yourself. There won't be somebody there to put it in when you're at home. But you can go home and you can self-cath once we show you how. Like, why wasn't that the first option? Why did I go through all of this when that was an option? Why was that never told to me? Why did nobody say one of your options is to self-cath multiple times and not have to keep it in, and not have to walk around with a bag under your pants, and not have to not be able to move because it hurts? Why did nobody mention that? I don't say that. I say, that's great. I can do that. And I feel better. She said, well, I'll be in at 6 o'clock, and I'll bring in the kits, and I'll train you on how to do it. I said, okay. So my son came and visited, and his wife, and they left. And then my daughter, who I haven't seen for a long time, came in right around 5:30 or so. No, later than that. The nurse, the CNP, came back with the kits and a booklet with pictures and arrows and notes and cleft notes and all kinds of stuff. She shows me the different things. She shows me the cath that I'm using, and I'm happy to see that it is not silicone, that it's vinyl. My experience already has been that the silicone ones, once they're in, tend to stick in a channel. They get stuck and they won't move back or forth. They're just stuck there as the lubricant goes away, and then that becomes painful. But I know that if we use vinyl, that's not going to be an issue. So I'm happy about that. And as catheters go, they go from 8 to 18 normally, and I am at about 14, so I'm about halfway between, so it's a regular size catheter. So she's like, so let's do this. I said, no, we're not going to do this. She said, what do you mean we're not going to do this? I said, well, what I mean is, I needed you to show me the equipment, and I needed you to tell me and explain to me how we're going to do it, and about relaxing to get it in and stuff. I needed that training. However, if we try to do it right now, you're going to hover over me and try to make sure I'm doing it right, and you're going to be correcting me the whole time. That's going to stress me out and make it more difficult. I understand the procedure. I see what the equipment is, and I don't think I'll have any problems at all handling it. So, you go home, have a nice dinner, enjoy yourself. I will do this, and if it means romancing myself all night long, I will get it done. And when you come in the morning, I will be catheterizing every 6 hours, which is what you're asking, on my own. She says, okay. And she leaves. Then my daughter comes in. I haven't seen her for a long time. We spend a lot of time talking about her and the grandkids and what's going on in her life. She's a pharmacist for CBS, and she's heard some of the conversation about the medicine I'm taking. She's heard me refuse some of the medicine that they're suggesting. She scolded me for refusing some and explained to me what some of those drugs do. Gave me more information about that medicine. And eventually she's like, well, Dad, I gotta get going. So I give her a hug, and as I do, my brother and his wife walk in the door. So the brother and wife come in, and then I've got someone who comes in, and they're starting to do I'm getting mixed up. So my brother and his wife come in. I visit with them for a while. The doctors come in. We talk to the doctors. Yada, yada, yada. Finally, everybody's out of there by about 10 o'clock or so. Now my nurse comes in. A different nurse now because shifts have changed. And she says, listen, I need the numbers for your catheterization for my report. When you do it, I need you to give me the information and perhaps even let me see it so I can see if it's clear or not and stuff like that. I'm like, okay, no problem. And she leaves, and they give me my privacy. I spend the next hour working up to it, thinking about it, going over it in my head, visualizing the whole procedure and what's going to happen. Finally, I get the kit, my IV, I go into the bathroom, and I close the door. Turn on the water, get the kit out, separate everything, look at it, put the gloves on, and go for it. Surprisingly, when I do it, it's less painful than when anybody else has done it. And I go to the bathroom pretty good. And as soon as that tube is empty, I do, again, get a little pain, but I take it out right away. But I'm still getting quite a bit of burning. So, panicking, expecting to get even more burning, I pull the little thing in the bathroom, and here come the girls. The nurse and the assistant both come in. They tap on the door, say, yeah, come on in. And I, like a garden hose, when I put it in, the end is loose. There's not anything attached to it. It's just a tube. So it's like a garden hose. There's fucking pee everywhere. Poor girls. All over the place. But the container they gave me wasn't big enough, so it overflowed. And because it was overflowing and I didn't want that to happen, I pulled the catheter out too soon before I was done, and that's what was causing the burning. But the nurse goes and gets a shot of morphine and puts in my IV. In a couple of minutes, I'm okay. I'm not in pain anymore. I get myself together and get out of there, and they clean up, mop up, and ask me if I need anything. By morning, I've catheterized twice. And the second time, I get the shot of morphine before I catheterize. And it goes like clockwork. So I am feeling really, really good. And then the Incredibles woman comes in, shaking her head. You're gonna have, what the hell happened? Like, what? She goes, I left you at 6 o'clock to do a catheterization, and you didn't do it until almost 12 o'clock. What in the hell happened? You're going to have to catheterize more than that. I said, look, when you left last night, I told you by the time you came in here, I'd be on a 6-hour schedule and doing it myself without assistance. I've hit my mark. I've done what I'm supposed to do. And you coming in here and scolding me because I didn't hit your schedule is bullshit. Now, I don't know if you're aware of it or not, but I'm the one with the vested interest in this. I'm interested in doing it right, and if I'm not hitting a mark that we need to hit, then we need to talk about that so that you can compromise and I can compromise, and we can find something that we're both comfortable with. But don't come in here scolding me. She says, okay then. So then she explains that with a 6-hour schedule, I'm still producing water that's putting pressure on my kidneys for a significant period of time. So I need to do it at least every 4 hours, minimum every 4 hours, because they want the water that comes out to be around 600 milliliters instead of a full liter. That's our goal, is to never let it get more than half full. I say, it'll be difficult, but I can do every 4 hours. However, I can tell you that when I get home, there's only one bathroom and 5 people in my house, and the chances of me doing every 4 hours at home is going to be difficult. She said, well, you don't have to use the bathroom. You could do it in your room. You can just put a bucket and catheter into the bucket, do your measuring and stuff, and then all you have to do is just dump it when the bathroom is free. I'm like, okay. So I feel a little bit better. I feel a little bit bad for scolding her, but also I've drawn that line in the sand, and I've let everybody know that I am the one that's making the decisions here, and that they are consultants in my health care. So that's day 2. Stay tuned. There's more. Until then, as always, you be well. This is Zen. Before I finish up, let me explain this little series that I'm doing. A lot of people go through this kind of thing that I'm going through, and they're embarrassed to talk about it, and they don't talk about it. And so then when people like me go in, we don't know what to expect. We come from a standpoint of ignorance. And in some ways I'm still ignorant, but we don't know what to expect. We don't know what kinds of challenges are going to be set before us, and we're flying blind. My hope is that by sharing this experience in as much detail as I am with you, that you will at least have some concept of what might be around the corner, and prepare you a little bit better for some of the choices that you may have to make should you be in a similar position. This isn't to make you feel bad for me, it's not to make you pity me, and it's not to whine or cry. Now, I will tell you what my situation is now, and I will give you my PayPal email address in case you would like to help out. You should feel no obligation to do so. If you can, and you'd like to, I appreciate it. If you can't, or it's just not something you do, or that's just a line you don't cross, I'm okay with that too, and I certainly won't hold it against you. So here's the situation. I sell used books online, costume jewelry, stuff that I pick up at flea markets, at garage sales, in dumpsters, on bulk trash day. I make sure that things work, that they're good, that they're clean, that they're usable, and I find people who find value in them and will buy them for a significant reduction rather than if they're looking for it themselves. That's how I make my living, aside from the money that I get from Google, from ads, which is very, very little. It doesn't pay cigarettes. But through that and through some other things that I do online, that's how I make my living. That means I have to get in my van and I have to go and pick stuff up. And it means that I have to spend time with the garden hose sometimes outside, cleaning stuff off, washing stuff off, verifying stuff works, researching what it is, what its normal retail value is, what its used value is, and then assessing what the value is of it today, and then putting together an ad in order to put it online so that somebody will see it and buy it, and I'll be able to make my rent. Now, my rent is not expensive. It's $4.50 a month, and that pays for everything. The roof over my head, that takes care of my food, any game system that you can think of, Xbox, PlayStation, the newest system, and every time a new game is out, I have that at my disposal. I also have all the cable channels, including all the pay-per-view channels, and everything else is available to me for that $4.50. I also put gas in my van, and I get a hamburger from McDonald's once in a while, and every once in a while I get a nice Pizza Hut pizza. I take advantage of the local food pantry because I don't have a job job, and I struggle sometimes at the end of the month pretty much just to make that rent. Now, the guy that I live with, that I rent from, is not a tyrant. He has illnesses of his own. I don't see him very often. But the bottom line is that there are expenses for the house that have to be paid, and if I'm not paying it, then somebody else has to take my place to do so. So if I don't hit my mark, then somebody else will have to take my place, and I won't be here. So it's very important that I do the $4.50 a month, plus whatever else I can get together. And I'm selling all kinds of stuff, computer-related stuff. I just sold a 5th generation iPod in mint condition. I sold my kayak. I've got other stuff that I'm selling. That's how I make my living. With these new things that are going on, there's a significant reduction in the amount of getting in the van and driving around in pain in order to collect items to sell, and in order to collect books and things like that, in order to turn around. So as a result, rent is more difficult when I'm sick. And now with this cancer and hospital and catheterization, it's near impossible. I live off of what most people spend on coffee in a month, or sandwiches, or going out to dinner. But that's all I need. And on that, I live very well. My needs are small. It even pays for cigarettes, which I am not going to stop smoking, for those of you who are interested. I will tell you I'm a pack-a-day smoker, and while I was sick, 1 pack lasted 4 days. For me, that's sick. So So there you go. I'm trying to get my rent together. I've got about 3 weeks to do so. If you'd like to help me with that, help me pay for medications and stuff, which are new expenses that I didn't have before, please feel free to donate whatever you can to my PayPal, Mr. ZenArcher at gmail.com. I'll put it in the description. If you can't, you're unwilling to, you wish you could, but it's just not going to work out, or that's a line that you've decided that you don't cross, I'm okay with that. I don't hold it against you. I am very appreciative to those people who have and are sending me what they can. But please, don't go out of your way. If you have a little extra, you want to buy me a coffee or a hamburger, by all means, use that email and help me make my rent at the end of the month, and maybe have a iced hazelnut coffee from McDonald's. So yeah, I guess, you're going to say, is he e-begging? I don't mean to be e-begging. I'm just saying I know that some of you would like to help, and I'm not going to turn down help when I need it as badly as I do. So I'm making it easy for you to help me. So there you go. Until next time, as always, this is Zen saying you be well and careful out there.